alrighty. Especially with this one right here. We been back into it. We ain't back into it with it though. But you got the jungle, big Tobes. You got the big Tobes, and especially with everything else, coming through this, the scenes and everything else. But you got the jungle, especially coming from that whole thing, like the jungle and with Tobes on it. You got the most big Tobes, coming in that blobberation with the jungle, especially with the blobberation and everything else that comes in that blobberation of that jungle, like, and then you got the half of the scene is this whole thing, but you just got with the Tobes and just with the whole jungle.
Well, we'll go from. Well, right now.
Yeah, yeah. If I hurt you, girl, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. Sipping Henny, I've been all up in my feelings. I can't sleep, I'm having nightmares when I'm dreaming. Nearly lost my life, I'm still there for a reason. Yeah. You from the streets, I know you came up from the jungle. They didn't know we made it through the struggle. And bro, she told me when you win, it's best you keep it humble. Cause when you get the bag, they pray you fall.
And the whole thing, especially how this whole thing come through, like, hey, you gotta keep it humble. You gotta, even as they didn't see you come through the jungle, like, even as you came from the jungle, like most people, they came from the streets, and at the same time, it was a jungle too, because they had to solidify off things they was doing, like, especially the things that come with this street stuff, this jungle stuff, especially you could remain humble no matter what kind of time it is, because it's a reason why you still it's a reason why you still living, you still here, you still you still doing your thing because you have you being you have you have everything into it. You really focus on what you're doing, like especially being focused, getting out that prodigy and watching your just just watching the your P's and Q's and everything else, especially the reason why the whole thing is solidified.
Nearly lost my life, I'm still there for a reason. Yeah. You from the streets, I know you came up from the jungle. They didn't know we made it through the struggle. And bro, she told me when you win, it's best you keep it humble. Cause when you get the bag, they pray you fumble. Say you love me, would you love me if I'm down and out? Only love you when you ball until you out of bounds. Won't believe the shit they'll do just for £1,000. As a young'un, just to get this, leave the shit they'll only love you when you ball until you out of bounds. Won't believe the shit they'll do just for £1,000. As a young'un, just to get this money, done 1,000 miles. And I've been thinking lately, been pounds. As a young'un, just to get this money, done 1,000 miles. And I've been thinking lately, been reminiscing lately, been moving distant lately. I've been burning bridges lately. I know them niggas hate me, probably cause their bitches rate me. Middle finger to them pussies, fuck you if you didn't pay.
Oh, and the whole thing, like, hey, especially how everything is, coming through that and just that, him putting this whole thing, that really, hey, you can relate that to the all kinds of symbols, like, all type of symbols, especially how this whole thing is, recuting and everything else. Like, they only love you till something happens, something, breaks down. That's just the truth. It's just like, they don't really love you till you down on your last, you got your last one set, and you just a failure. That's when they really love you. But when you up, that's when they trying to tear you apart. Like, hey, just like he said, coming from that jungle, they rather see you in the they rather see you in the jungle, instead of seeing you, in the whole, your spot where you need to be. Everything is just balanced.
Hate me, probably cause their bitches rate me. Middle finger to them pussies, fuck you if you didn't pay me. And I've been falling in love with shorty, but sorry the money calling. And she like, baby, talk to me, what's so important? If I hurt you, girl, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. Sipping Henny, I've been all up in my feelings. I can't sleep, I'm having nightmares when I'm dreaming. Nearly lost my life, I'm still here for a reason. Yeah. You from the streets, I know you came up from the jungle. They didn't know we made.
Hey, and you from the streets, we know you came from the. Hey, see, people, like they say, the real's always gonna, the real's always gonna know where you came from. They're gonna know what's actually going on, out here because, this is something you came from, we came from, especially like you always gonna have a reputation. You always gonna know what's going on. You're gonna have a reputation. You're gonna know what the next person went through because you have the same reputation that the next person has. So it's like, the real's always gonna manufacture this off of this.
You from the streets, I know you came up from the jungle. They didn't know we made it through the struggle. And bro, she told me when you win, it's best you keep it humble. Cause when you get the bag, they pray you fumble.
Yeah, Blitz. Yeah, Tobz already know what to do. Hello. What? Hold tight, I'm coming. I'm gonna go, fam. My baby mom, fam. Some of the baby right now, fam. I'm gonna go.
If I hurt you, girl, I'm sorry, I didn't mean it. Sipping Henny, I've been all up in my feelings. I can't sleep, I'm having nightmares when I'm dreaming. Nearly lost my life, I'm still here for a reason. Yeah. You from the streets, I know you came up from the jungle. They didn't know we made it through the struggle. And bro, she told me when you win, it's best you keep it humble. Cause when you get the bag, they pray you fumble.
Damn, this had a whole story to it. The way this whole thing went and everything else. This had a story to it. Like, I had to really pay attention just to know what was actually going on. Like, I had to actually pay attention and see what's actually going on because this whole thing right here, how this thing went. Yeah, hey, first she had the kid, and then it was this and that, and then I don't know, was he trying to get to her, and then they was going off the speed limit or something else, especially when it coming, especially drinking all that Hennessy, drinking a little bit of the Hennessy, this, especially all these, physical, drinks and all these things, they could put you in your feelings, like, especially if you in your feeling, type of area zone, you gonna feel how you feel, but especially with the jungle, and everything else, this had just a story, but everything else, like I had to try to kid in with this because it was just so much coming through this one. But make sure you guys definitely check this one out. Make sure you guys like, comment, subscribe, everything else, especially with Big Tobz and coming from the jungle. Is you coming from the jungle, then this one's for you right here. Like, hey, the jungle people, all my jungle people, all my MP streets out there. But you just got with this whole one right here.